Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutaya Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pujari Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pachatya Vishari Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare.
I Om Shivad Om Supari Praj Kacharya Sto Tirasri Srimad AC Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai Nam Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kundi Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Badrik Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamana Mai Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Welcome everybody to Srimad Bhagavatam reading with His Holiness Jayādvaita Swami. It is Tuesday, October 28th in 2025. We're beginning with Srimad Bhagavatam 4:22:58. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Gurmaj, would your audience there like to read?
You can read the first verse.
Okay. 58. Varsati sma yata kamam parjanya eva tarpayan samudra eva drabo daha sat venachala rad eva. Translation: just as rainfall satisfies everyone's desires, Maharaj Prithu used to satisfy everyone. He was like the sea in that no one could understand his depths. And he was like Meru, the king of hills, in the fixity of his purpose. Purport: Maharaj Prithu used to distribute his mercy to suffering humanity, and it was like rainfall after excessive heat. The ocean is wide and expansive, and it is very difficult to measure its length and breadth. Similarly, Prithu Maharaj was so deep and grave that no one could fathom his purposes. The hill known as Meru is fixed in the universe as a universal pivot, and no one can move it an inch from its position. Similarly, no one could ever dissuade Maharaj Prithu when he was determined. Gurmaj and others, would you like to comment?
Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Mayam Rupakada Mayam Dadati Shapadantika Vandehang Shri Guru Shri Jatapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Shagrashatam Sahagana Raganatan Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadut Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Deva Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lulitam Shri Vishakam Vitam Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagat Pate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Kapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Krisha Bhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Vanshako Pitarubhyascha Kripa Sindhopye Vaja Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. The expansive nature of Prithu Maharaj's character is described. Varshati Smalyata Kaman, as the rain pours water, he satisfied all the citizens. He was Samudra Iva Durbodha. Durbodha means difficult to understand. Who can understand the depths of the sea and what might be beneath the surface? And Satvena, his, Prabhupada says, existential position was like the king of hills, Sumeru, Meru Shikarinama, among mountains. Krishna says, I'm Meru. And in the fifth canto, we hear about the existential position of Mount Meru, the fixed central feature of the universe. Hare Krishna.
You have something in chat? Praveen Prabhu writes, Tarpan rituals are followed in India for pleasing the forefathers.
Yes. Okay, I can read the next verse. Brahmarad iva shikshayam ascharye himavan iva kuvera iva koshadhyo guptarto varuno yata. Maharaj Prithu's intelligence and education were exactly like that of Yamaraj, the superintendent of death. His opulence was comparable to the Himalaya mountains, where all valuable jewels and metals are stocked. He possessed great riches, like Kubera, the treasurer of the heavenly planets, and no one could reveal his secrets, for they were like the demigod Arunas. Purport: Yamaraj, or Dharmaraj, as the superintendent of death, has to judge the criminal living entities who have committed sinful activities throughout their lives. Consequently, Yamaraj is expected to be most expert in judicial matters. Prithu Maharaj was also highly learned and exceedingly exact in delivering his judgment upon the citizens. No one could excel him in opulence any more than estimate the stock of minerals and jewels in the Himalaya mountains. Therefore, he is compared to Kubera, treasurer of the heavenly planets. Nor could anyone discover the secrets of his life any more than learn the secrets of Varuna, the demigod presiding over the water, the night, and the western sky. Varuna is omniscient, and since he punishes sins, he is prayed to for forgiveness. He is also the sender of disease and is often associated with Mitra and Indra. No, nothing to add here. Just an entirely tangential matter in regard to being the center of disease. In the Kirtan Standards book, the point is made that in the Panchatattva mantra, we want Gadadhar, not Gadadhar. And one brahmachari recently pointed out to me that Gada, the short A, means disease. So Gadadhar would be the bearer of disease, which is different from Gadadhar, the bearer of the mace. Hare Krishna.
Gurumaj, would anybody there like to read?
Sure. Matarishveva sarvatma palena mahasauchasa avishahyataya devo bhagavan bhutaradiva. In his bodily strength and in the strength of his senses, Maharaj Prithu was as strong as the wind, which can go anywhere and everywhere. As far as his intolerance was concerned, he was just like the all-powerful Rudra, expansion of Lord Shiva, or Sadashiva. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Gurudasa Jayādvaita Swami Namane. Quick comment, just in the last verse we had Dharmarat, and now we have Bhutarat. And the Bhutarat is Avishahyataya, is intolerant, but also irresistible. The force of his desire is to be fulfilled. I was thinking about in the Pralambasur pastime. Pralamba is thinking about Krishna. He says he's Avishahya, he's invincible. So let me at least try first with Balaram. But here Prithviraj is being compared to Bhutarat, the Rudra or Sadashiva, and his intolerance and effectiveness therein. His intolerance and also invincible in his actions. Kandarpa iva saundarye manasvi mrigaradiva vatsalye manuvanranam prabhutve bhagavan ajaha. In his bodily beauty, he was just like Cupid, and in his thoughtfulness, he was like a lion. In his affection, he was just like Swayambhuva Manu, and in his ability to control, he was like Lord Brahma.
I would just add that manasvi, thoughtfulness, doesn't mean being considerate. It means depth of thought.
And how is that like a lion?
Good question. I could speculate, but we see that lions don't care about small matters. And a lion has a certain majesty, and part of that is he's not, like the monkeys, they're always messing around with small stuff like little bugs and things like that. But the lions are depth.
Manasvi
We have
Mrigara.
some- Okay. Continue.
Go ahead. I'm just saying the Sanskrit again.
Okay. Praveen Prabhu writes, the intolerance for what? Referring to text 60.
Intolerance, yeah.
No, go ahead.
Intolerance for breaking the laws. We read earlier that he was, what's the word, generous and like the moon, which gives so much soothing light, but he was exacting like the sun. So this is the combination, requiring that the citizens follow the laws, that they be in order, that they be in discipline, but at the same time pouring benefits on them like the clouds. So when you don't mind being controlled, when you're being supplied everything that you need amply. No one wants to be in a dictatorship where the obedience and compliance are expected, but you don't get any benefit. So he was both. He would require compliance with the laws, but he would amply bestow benefits, pour benefits on citizens.
And also very intolerant of the earth withholding anything from the citizens, in the same line of thought. In giving to the citizens, he was intolerant of anyone who stood in the way of his protecting his citizens. I have one more thought on Kandarpa Iva Saundarya, the name I gave my younger son Adrivarya. The first line of the verse is Saundaryam Lalanali Dhairya Dalanam Lilarama Stambani. It describes Krishna's Saundarya, as destroying the patience of the gopis, the dhairya, the steadiness of the gopis and his pastimes are astounding even to Rama, the goddess of fortune. And so here we're seeing that Krishna's not counterpart, but Shakti-avesh avatar has the same soundarya, the same qualities of the Lord, this soundarya, this great beauty, just like Cupid.
And generally, Kshatriyas are supposed to be, what would you say, beautiful, impressive looking. That's a feature of that we generally expect of Kshatriyas. They have nobility, and you look at them and they should be beautiful. May not be always, but that's the idea.
Some things in the chat. Madhupati Prabhu writes, lion is considered to have wisdom among animals. There, yes, Gurmar?
Yes, good.
Saraswati Mashi writes, known as a majestic animal, can consider things from all angles and not impulsive.
And before Madhupati Prabhu was Madhupati Prabhu, he was Mrugesh, the lion.
Mriganam Mrigendro. Among animals, I'm the lion.
Madhupati Prabhu writes that in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna mentions among animals, I'm lion. And then Saraswati Machi writes, Pranams Param Puja, Gurudev, and all the Vaishnavas. Lion is known as a majestic, okay, same thing. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'll read one more. Brahaspatir Brahmavadi Atmavatve Swayam Hari Bhaktya Go Guru Vipreshu Vishvaksenanuvartishu Kriya Prashaya Shilabhyam Atmatulya Parodyame Prashaya Shilabhyam. In his personal behavior, Prithu Maharaj exhibited all good qualities, and in spiritual knowledge, he was exactly like Brahaspati. In self-control, he was like the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. As far as his devotional service was concerned, he was a great follower of devotees who were attached to cow protection and the rendering of all service to the spiritual master and the Brahmanas. He was perfect in his shyness and in his gentle behavior. And when he engaged in some philanthropic activity, he worked as if he were working for his own personal self. Atmatulya Parodyame. Wow. Purport. When Lord Chaitanya talked to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, the Lord honored him as the incarnation of Brahaspati. Brahaspati is the chief priest of the heavenly kingdom, and he is a follower of the philosophy known as Brahmavada, or Mayavada. Brahaspati is also a great logician. It appears from this statement that Maharaj Prithu, although a great devotee, constantly engaged in the loving service of the Lord, could defeat all kinds of impersonalists and Mayavadis by his profound knowledge of Vedic scriptures. We should learn from Maharaj Prithu that a Vaishnava or devotee must not only be fixed in the service of the Lord, but, if required, must be prepared to argue with the impersonalist Mayavadis with all logic and philosophy and defeat their contention that the absolute truth is impersonal. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ideal self-controller or brahmachari. When Krishna was elected to be president of the Rajasuya Yajna performed by Maharaj Yudhishthira, Grandfather Bhishmadev praised Lord Krishna as the greatest brahmachari. Because Grandfather Bhishmadev was a brahmachari, he was quite fit to distinguish a brahmachari from a vyabhichari. Although Prithu Maharaj was a householder and father of 5 children, he was still considered to be most controlled. One who begets Krishna conscious children for the benefit of humanity is actually a brahmachari. One who simply begets children like cats and dogs is not a proper father. The word brahmachari also refers to one who acts on the platform of Brahman or devotional service. In the impersonal Brahman conception, there is no activity. Yet when one performs activities in connection with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is to be known as brahmachari. Thus, Prithu Maharaj was an ideal brahmachari and grihastha simultaneously. Vishvaksena Nuvartishu refers to those devotees who are constantly engaged in the service of the Lord. Other devotees must follow in their footsteps. Srila Narottama Das Thakur said, Echai Gosain Yara Muitara Das. He is prepared to become the disciple of anyone who follows in the footsteps of the 6 Goswamis. Also, like all Vaishnavas, Maharaj Prithu was devoted to cow protection, spiritual masters, and qualified brahmanas. Prithu Maharaj was also very humble, meek, and gentle, and whenever he performed any philanthropic work or welfare activity for the general public, he would labor exactly as if he were tending to his own personal necessities. In other words, his philanthropical activities were not for the sake of show, but were performed out of personal feeling and commitment. All philanthropic activities should be thus performed. Couple of points here. Srila Prabhupada begins with the quality of Brahaspati, being able to argue with Mayavadis. Then he moves into the topic of Brahmacharya and Bhishma Dev's glorification. Bhishma means very fearsome, scary. The voice from the clouds, this is Bhishma Brat. When Devadatta decided, I'm not going to have any children, he made that firm determination, that vow, if my father will be pleased, if he can marry, only if I remain a brahmachari, then so be it. That demonstrates great self-control. For the sake of another, I'm willing to forego that gratification of married life, of having children. Very powerful renunciation. And so, of course, that's one of the opulences of Krishna, renunciation. He's the most renounced, the greatest brahmachari, Vishnudev says. And then Prithu Maharaj also devoted to cow protection, spiritual masters, and qualified brahmanas. In the same verse, Saundaryam Lalanali Dhairya Dalanam, the third line says Vishvajini Shila, the Lord's qualities, his Shila, are very pleasing. Jananu Ranjana Maho, Yasyayam Asmat Prabhu. Vishvam Vishvajanina Kirta Ravata. Let us all glorify Krishna, whose qualities are very pleasing to everyone. And so Prithu Maharaj also, his qualities are so pleasing to people in general. Priya Prashraya Shilabhyam. And Atmatulya Parodhyame. I particularly like that last line, that while engaging in philanthropical work, it was performed with such enthusiasm. It was as if he were working for himself with that same enthusiasm. Actually, when he meets the 4 Kumaras, that point is also made, that he rushes forward to serve them, just like a man rushes forward to gratify his own senses. That same enthusiasm was there when he ran to serve the Kumaras. And so we're seeing that again here, not just for great souls, but for everyone. Parodhyame, in his philanthropical activities for people in general, he did it with the same enthusiasm as a man would enter into serving his own purposes. Very saintly quality. And very attentive to the cows and to spiritual masters and brahmanas. This also is famous, of course, Go Brahmana Hitayacha, the quality of Krishna to take care of the cows and brahmanas. So Prithu Maharaj is the full package. He's scholarly, devotional, and dedicated to the service of others, particularly cows, brahmanas, spiritual masters, and to everyone.
Hare Krishna.
Madhupati Prabhu, would you like to take? Okay, now we have some things in the chat. Praveen Prabhu writes, the philanthropic work seems to be for all. Can it be said that all in his kingdom were aspiring devotees for whom the work was being done?
No, I think that would be a stretch to say, well, he wouldn't perform philanthropic work except that everyone in his kingdom was an aspiring devotee. And so that's why he did it. They may or may not have been. It's the duty of the king to see that, what should we say, welfare activities are performed for the public. It may not be the duty of the Brahmins to see to the material necessities of the citizens, but the Kshatriya's king, he's like the father. The father has to see to the benefit of the children. They may be good children, they may be bad children, they may be devoted, they may not be devoted, but it's his business to see that everything they need is provided. So I don't think we need to go so far as to say that he was philanthropic because they were aspiring devotees. He was philanthropic. That was his duty. And not only duty, but heartfelt duty. The citizens should be cared for. And that was the position of the king. Anyone could approach the king. Your Majesty, this is my problem. And the king would feel it. Oh, my citizen has a problem. Let me fix it. It's my duty. He cared about the citizens. Not that I don't give a damn about the citizens as long as they pay their taxes and re-elect me. Then good. And apart from that, what do we care? But the genuinely, or like philanthropist, that's passion. What is that? Charity in the mode of passion. Pratyupakar, they're Pratyupakar artam. Charity and passion is performed for the sake of getting something back. I give some philanthropy to get a tax break, or to get my name on the side of the building, or to be in some way glorified or appreciated or benefited. But that's not datavyam iti yad dhanam upakarane. In goodness, charity is given because it's our duty to give charity. It's what we're supposed to do, not because we get something back. So here, Prithu Maharaj, as an ideal king, well, of course, we provide abundant benefits for the citizens. We take care of their health, their property, their whatever they need. The king is like the father, and so he takes care of the citizens the way one cares for the children. And that's not only the human citizens, but the animals also. They should have no difficulty. So that's, his personal feeling and commitment. We're there for that. Not that he performed philanthropic activities for show. I remember there was an earthquake in Gujarat, and there was a big hoarding near the Juhu temple, in which one political leader was, calling out for support for the affected victims. And it was clear, what did that leader care about the poor people? But it was an opportunity to have your name and face on a hoarding and to look like you really cared.
Diyate anupakarine. No interest in reward or compensation.
Thank you.
We have another thing in the chat, but I need to leave the call. Would someone be able to volunteer to take the chat today. Saraswati Mataji can't today.
I can if it's helpful.
Yes, thank you, Prabhu.
Saraswati Mataji asks, why is it stated that Prithu Maharaj was exactly like Brihaspati when the former is a Vaishnava and the latter a Mayavadi? I'm not clear about the word Vyabhichari and the purport, because does Bhismapati mean Krishna was a genuine brahmachari as opposed to a minor one, part-time one?
Let's do the one question at a time, Brihaspati. Brihaspati may have been an impersonalist, but he was a very formidable spiritual figure. Purodasam Jamukyam Mam Vidhi Partha Brihaspati. In the Vibhuti Yoga chapter, Krishna says, among the priests on Brihaspati, the chief, Mukyam. So in that way, you could also ask, why is he compared to a mountain when mountains are made of rock and the Maharaj is made of flesh? But the comparison is there that the mountain is a great, steady feature, and King was steady. So he was spiritually advanced also, spiritually learned. So even Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he may have been a Mayavadi, but he was so learned that even sannyasis would come to learn from him.
It's not saying that Brihaspati is a Mayavadi, is it?
Yes.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. Brahmavadi or Mayavadi. And by the way, yeah, a follower of the philosophy known as Brahmavad or Mayavad. We often hear that a great emphasis laid on the difference between Brahmavadis and Mayavadis. And there may be a distinction to be made, but often Srila Prabhupada makes no distinction, Brahmavadi, Mayavadi. And that we find here. Now the question about Vyabhichari. Vyabhichari means fickle, if I'm not wrong.
Deviation.
You've got it on.
Oh no, just sometimes it's written deviation, like avyabhichari.
Yeah, where's my phone? In my pocket, that's where we'll look it up. Or we'll look it up here. Yeah, yes, deviation, transgression. Disturbance, Vyabhichari bhav is disturbing ecstasy. Vyabhichar, yeah, to act in an unfriendly way, to offend, to fail, all these meanings are there. So brahmachari, chari is moving. That's one of Vyabhichars. So chari, one who's moving. So the Vyabhichari is moving against proper behavior. The brahmachari is moving towards Brahma, the supreme absolute truth. Hare Krishna.
Saraswati Mataji also asks, I think Vyabhichari means minor temporary when applied to the 7 secondary rasas.
No. The Vyabhichari bhav is disturbing ecstasy. when there's tears, when there's when fear is there, when there's all sorts of when the symptoms of ecstasy are disturbing, then it's called vyabhachari. Not that because it's secondary. There are 5 primary rasas, and there are the secondary rasas, or 7 secondary rasas. So this is not vyabhachari is not a secondary ras, but it's a disturbing pav, disturbing ecstasy. You'll find that in Nectar of Devotion.
We also have a comment from Praveen Prabhu. One can assume that the citizens of Prithu were all followers of Vedic principles. But would philanthropy by the king today to the non-followers be proper? Such benefits would indulge such non-followers to continue their sinful activities.
Philanthropy doesn't just mean giving money. It means seeing that people are, for example, employed. That because they're employed, then they get a good house in which to live, they get clean water to drink, they get, the basic needs. That's not sinful to see that the citizens are taken care of. You could just imagine some despotic leader. Your Majesty, the people have no proper water. Well, if you gave them water, they just get stronger and commit more sins. Create more mischief. Let them go dry. No. If they give them more food, they'll get stronger and commit more crime. No, you can't think like that. The duty to see that the citizens have food, have clean water, have sanitation, have all these, have trees by the side of the road to provide shade for them. This is the duty of the king. He can't discriminate and say, well, they're a batch of creeps anyway, so we won't supply anything. I'll just keep everything in my own treasury, my own sense gratification. That kind of, so like a father, he can't say, why should I feed the kid? He's a lousy kid anyway. No, he has natural affection for the children, and he provides them with whatever they need. Not that he feels, they're running short on marijuana, so I have to supply. Not like that. But in terms of the real necessities of life, he wants to see that they have sufficient. And then they can move forward in Krishna consciousness. Or not Krishna consciousness, but in any case, their needs need to be seen to. That's the duty of the king. Again, it may not be the duty of the Brahmins to see that people have all their material necessities. He provides the spiritual vision for the society. The king has to provide protection and all the basic requirements for happy life.
I also had a question, Maharaj. I guess my understanding is some advanced or pure devotees might not be literate or very intelligent, but in the purport, Prabhupada says that every Vaishnav should be able to argue against Mayavad philosophy and defeat it using logic, but
Even if he's not literate, one doesn't have to be a great learned scholar. One just has to have devotion and common sense. Dadami buddhi yogam tam, then Krishna will give intelligence. The cobbler was better than the Brahmin because the cobbler had devotion, and therefore he also had common sense. He could see that why should it be a problem for Narayan to be pulling a needle, pulling an elephant through the eye of a needle? He's putting all these banyan trees and little seeds. What is it that he can't do? He wasn't a scholar, but he was better than the scholar because he had pure consciousness. So that's one point. And another is that if one is a devotee, Krishna can provide every argument. I remember there was some petty court case, maybe devotees were arrested for obstructing traffic by performing sankirtan or collecting money or something like that, one of those usual sankirtan transgressions. And the devotees were hauled into court, and the judge made the attorney who was speaking for the state made some insulting remark about Krishna. And one of my godbrothers, Nanda Kishore, just blasted him right there in the court, just was quite eloquent in blasting him. And Nanda Kishore wasn't known as a great speaker or a great, he rarely gave class and so on. But Prabhupada was pleased and remarked to that effect that Krishna gave him intelligence by which to defeat the rascal attorney. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. Would Madhupati Prabhu be able to read the next verse?
Okay. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutala Gurudas Jayādvaita Swami Namni Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutala Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namni Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachaline Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatavine Kirtaya Urdhva Gitaya Pumbhi Trailokya Tatra Tatraha Pravishta Karnarandreshu Strinam Ramaha Satam Iva. Translation. Throughout the whole universe, in the higher, lower, and middle planetary systems, Prithu Maharaj's reputation was loudly declared, and all ladies and saintly persons heard his glories, which were as sweet as the glories of Lord Ramachandra. Purport. In this verse, the words Strinam and Rama are significant. It is the practice amongst ladies to hear and enjoy the praises of certain heroes. From this verse, it appears that Prithu Maharaj's reputation was so great that ladies all over the universe would hear of it with great pleasure. At the same time, his glories were heard all over the universe by the devotees, and they were as pleasing as Lord Ramachandra's glories. Lord Ramachandra's kingdom is still existing, and recently there was a political party in India named the Ram Rajya Party, which wanted to establish a kingdom resembling the kingdom of Rama. Unfortunately, modern politicians want the kingdom of Rama without Rama himself. Although they have banished the idea of God consciousness, they still expect to establish the kingdom of Rama. Such a proposal is rejected by devotees. Prithu Maharaj's reputation was heard by saintly persons because he exactly represented Lord Ramachandra, the ideal king. Om Jnanatimindasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurmitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. So, Prithu Maharaj's glories and reputations is loudly declared, and for the ladies became as a role model and a hero. But for saintly persons, he carried out all tasks exactly representing Lord Ramachandra as a king, ideal king. So Prithu Maharaj also followed in that footsteps of Lord Ramachandra as an ideal king, taking care of his citizens. And now, with steady determination, also on this line of Srila Prabhupada mentioning that modern days people want Ram Rajya without Lord Rama. Right. So there is no question of Ram Rajya if they're not God conscious. They need to keep Lord Rama in the center. Then they can expect some form of orderliness. Otherwise, it's all hoax. Yeah. Yeah. Parmas, you like to add anything?
Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the fourth canto, 22nd chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Prithu Maharaj's Meeting with the Four Kumaras. We have 7 minutes more. Next chapter is chapter 23, Maharaj Prithu's going back to Godhead. I don't know if we'll start that verse, the series of verses, actually, first 3 verses. We're getting close to our time for ending. One thing we just heard that my god sister Tushti Devi passed away a couple of hours ago. She was known as a great distributor of Srila Prabhupada's books and as a very qualified teacher for children. She served especially in Los Angeles and that side. She was also the mother of my godbrother Deva Deva and grandmother of Radhesha. And so we remember her with respect. And our prayers are there for her eternal welfare. She rendered lots of valuable service to Srila Prabhupada and the Krishna consciousness movement. Hare Krishna.
There are 2 comments in the chat right now. First from Praveen Prabhu. I have heard that the mother of Shivaji would recite pastimes of Ramayana to small Shivaji.
Very good. Yes, kings should hear about such a king as Prithu Maharaj or Lord Ramchandra.
And a comment from Saraswati Mataji. Women in general love hearing about great heroes. Prithu Maharaj is the total package and has everything that makes him perfect. When Draupadi wanted a perfect person who had all qualities, Krishna said, no one person can have everything. And so she had to marry 5 people, each exhibiting one of her desired qualities. Also, no wonder Indra was envious of Prithu Maharaj.
Yes. Thank you.
Would Panchatattva Prabhu be able to do the closing kirtan?
Sure.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Privrajacharya Astottara Satta Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Privrajacharya Astottara Satta Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Brinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopal Gopinath Shamakund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Mayapur Dham ki jai, Jagannath Puri Dham ki jai, Ganga Mai ki jai, Yamuna Mai ki jai, Tulasi Devi ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Samaveta Bhakta Brindi ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaura Premanande. Haribo.
Hey, Haribo.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you to all the devotees for taking part.
Thank
Srila
you, Guru Maharaj.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Samaveta Bhaktivinoda ki jai.
Jai.
Gaur Premanande.
Haribo.
Jayādvaita Swami Maharaj.